We finally have some more details and a greater look at Dune 2020, thanks to some newly released images and an interview with Denis Villeneuve in the latest edition of Empire magazine. In particular, we got 2 images and some new information surrounding the production. I'm going to be discussing these reveals and, more importantly, outlining what Villeneuve has said about the film in his recent interview. Before I get into it, if you want to see much more videos on Dune leading up to its release date, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. Without further ado, let's get into the latest reveals for Dune. Starting off with the new photos, we get a look at Timothee Chalamet and Josh Brolin. Now, many have pointed out that this first image is actually of the Spice Harvester scene where Paul Atreides and Gurney Halleck are travelling over Arrakis in a Thopter. It's also said that this is the scene where they are trying to save men that are endangered at a Spice Harvester when a worm is approaching them. When describing this scene in Empire magazine, we get some more details on the sandworms by Villeneuve. He mentioned that while developing those creatures which can easily reach the size of the Empire State Building, they mainly took cues from Herbert's ecosystem. He says in the article that he talked about every little detail that would make such a beast possible, from the texture of the skin to the way the mouth opens to the system to eat its food in the sand. It was a year of work to design to find the perfect shape that looked prehistoric enough. But what Villeneuve focuses on a lot in this short article is the main character, Paul Atreides. When reiterating that this scene is a pivotal one for Paul in becoming the hero, he says it's Paul's first contact with the deep desert, where he's mesmerised by it. He has a strange feeling of being home. There's a lot of action at this particular moment, and it's one of the scenes in the movie that Villeneuve says he is extremely proud of. All of these hints, including there being a lot of action and that it's Paul's first contact with the deeper desert, could allude to this being the Spice Harvester scene that many are pointing out. Alongside this original image the other day, we got another photo of Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides released today. We see his character holding a defensive shield in what looks to be the training room. It will be interesting to see how all this detail comes to life, like how the shields are activated, along with the continuous designs in the film, like the impressive carvings shown on the woodwork walls in the background. It just shows how much detail is going into these sets. Many were saying the film was going to be too minimalistic, but I would advise them to watch Denis' other projects, because this director does not present things in a very simplistic way. As a fan of his work, he puts a lot of detail into conveying the mood and the tone of a project he's making, and I think if anyone's directing style was suited to adapt Dune, it's Denis Villeneuve. We'll have to see how everyone reacts to it, but so far all of these images have been fantastic, considering most of them are behind the scenes photos and not actual frames from the film. Obviously, the 2 images we got this week are most likely frames from the actual film, and I'm personally loving the practicality on display in both of these new photos. While continuing to state his love for the project since he was 14 years old, Villeneuve explains how Paul Atreides became the lifeblood in what he wanted to convey. He states that this idea of someone who has to adapt to a new world is really something that appeals to him. Paul at the beginning of the story is surrounded by adults making decisions for him, and he will become an adult through that story. And to make this all come to life and present the emotion and spectacle of Dune's story, Denis expressed once again that this all came down to representing Herbert's novel by shooting in real deserts on real locations and no studios. He said to the studio heads with humour that Jaws wasn't shot in a swimming pool. This meant that he had to find places to shoot, like the sandy dunes of the desert in Arrakis and the dry rocky landscapes closer to the planet's human settlements. These were mostly filmed in Abu Dhabi and in Jordan. What these final details once again highlight is the course by directors like Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan to actually film in broad, real locations. And I'm talking about locations which are used to convey planetary landscapes by using our own. What this does is ground the audience in some kind of relatability. Regardless of if you like their films, the point I was making in a previous video was that the effort by them, including their production crews, is just unparalleled in the industry at this current point. They take the formula of blockbuster filmmaking but present huge and ideological concepts which not much mainstream filmmakers do. The fact that Denis has took a gamble with a project like Dune in the way we think he will adapt it should get fans excited, knowing that a director like him is even trying to bring this to life. Either way, we will have to wait until we see it to really grasp how strong the adaptation is, but I can't wait to see more, and just reading all of these small details has me even more on board with the approach he is taking. So that's what we got in the latest edition of Empire magazine, and it looks like we are going to have to wait a little while longer for our first Dune trailer. As I said in my Dune trailer date prediction video, I wouldn't be surprised if we got this trailer around June or July, because Warner Brothers love to market their December films towards the end of summer. We'll have to see, but either way, all of the photos and the information has me incredibly excited for whenever we get the first footage. Before I end this video, I would just like to update you on my progress of reading the book. So far, I've really enjoyed the concepts and ideas that Herbert has tackled, and I must say that just picturing Arrakis from reading the novel makes me really interested to see how Villeneuve will adapt it. In particular, the way characters interact through inner monologue and nuanced non-verbal communication has me pondering over what techniques he will apply. I am going to be doing a book review once I've read Dune, so I will save my in-depth reaction for that video. But again, I'm really enjoying my time intellectually understanding what Herbert has created, and it's getting me even more on board for the adaptation. But anyway, that's all the details we got in the latest edition of Empire magazine, and hopefully we will get some more information soon. For more videos surrounding Dune leading up to its eventual release date, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like rating. I will be covering news and topics for Dune whenever new information comes out, so look out for my videos on these reveals. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.